Dave's mirror of communication activated, receiving a message being broadcasted from Emerilia. All Stone Riders are to immediately return to Terra. All members of the Terra Alliance are to move into readiness positions, ready for immediate deployment. This is not a drill. Josh's voice cut through the silence that had descended over Party Zero as they stopped, looking out over the asteroid and the heavens above. "You heard the man," Dia yelled. All of Party Zero turned and rushed toward the portal to the ice planet, their bodies mere blurs. None of them talked as they rushed from the asteroid to the ice planet, and then through Null to Pandora's box, through the power facility and into Terra. Bob had taken a separate portal in Pandora's box to reach the Datskun. Automatons and carts were the only things in the sky. Massive barges carrying troops from across Emerilia were moved to and from the teleport pads. The city streets had quickly been cleared by Shard. The businesses and people of Terra, as well as their visitors, looked in shock as the military units that had been stuck in training or were being called up rushed into Terra. No one was allowed in the sky. Shard took over the automatons to move everyone without having any accidents. People who had been relaxing in their taverns now rushed through the city in squads, their eyes hard as they moved toward their barracks. Party Zero called up their armor. Everyone was in a state of shock with all the movements going on. "Party Zero, there is a cart outside waiting for you. Please board it. Steve, I could use your help in organizing the movements of the city." Shard's voice came from overhead Party Zero. "Linking in," Steve said, as Party Zero moved toward the waiting carts. As soon as they were secured, the carts took off toward Stone Raider Towers. Dave found Dia's hand, holding it as they rushed forward. Across Emerilia, the same scene took place. With the interfaces and party chat, information passed at an alarming rate. The message was simple and terrifying. The portals had opened, and creatures from the other planes were now descending. With them were creatures that were part of the Myths and Legends event. People checked their weapons. City guard and military units were put on full readiness as the city's defenses were checked. The horns of the elves were heard across Markolm as the military units within their beautiful towers marched out to the city walls in crisp, orderly lines. Old alliance agreements were checked over, and units were sent to Terra as per the Terra Alliance agreement. Tribes checked their defenses and reached out to one another in aid. The ground around the Dwarven Mountains shook with the sound of drum beats. The Dwarven warbands called to service. Within those mountains, bellows worked harder as weapons were checked and armor was fitted. Dwarves donned their armor, moving into their warbands and war clans. Artillery was checked and tested. In the north of Ophir, war clans that had been based out of the Mythsia Mountains, training behind their massive defensive wall, now moved out of the mountains and to preset positions. War drums filled the Kufotel forest, rolling down from the Mythsia Mountains as horns from the Kufotel elves called the people back to their city in the forest. Retired and reserve rangers donned their armor and moved to full readiness. Several war clans and supporting Kufotel elves gathered themselves together, marching out of the defended land and toward Cliff Hill. Cliff Hill had grown into a massive city now, larger than even Omal. Their defenses were checked as they manned their walls and watched for danger. Bob watched this all, a solemn look on his face as he checked the action logs that showed what the Empire had done. "Those motherfuckers," Bob said with a cold voice. "They opened almost all of the portals that hadn't been discovered, and random ones that have to link Emerilia to the other systems containing aggressive species. 12 races in total. Even races that were closed off due to having low numbers, or because they unbalanced Emerilia before. They also spammed the damn spawn points. Do they just not care anymore?" Bob went through the information and frowned. He typed out a quick message with all that he knew, sending it on to Party Zero, Fire, and Water. He stood up from his chair and headed back toward the portal that connected to Pandora's box. "I might not be able to do anything on the main stage of Emerilia yet, but I can support them from the rear with what we're doing in the Null system and Moonbase," Bob said.